Hello, everybody. It's time for another episode of Tarot for Our Times. And this is our pre election special today. I decided this afternoon that I was going to do a live, and I don't know how many people know about it, but I will be posting this afterwards. So I've seen a lot of really good videos with colleagues. I'll name a couple. Let's see, like Ellie and Linda G, the Comanche um, psychic with Sterling. I always enjoy that on a Sunday. And let's see, Marianne, Ellie, and some other tarot people I have recently discovered, and they've all done a really, really good job in their predictions of who they think will be winning various races. So, and they're all kind of in agreement with each other. They're all kind of in agreement with Michael Moore. And so I am not going to rehash that. Besides, it kind of goes against my superstitious about not predicting elections, but I do like to look at the energy and see what the possibilities could be. So instead of doing that, I want to talk about some groups of people who I may feel may have been left out of the mix, so to speak, as far as pundits have spoken about. And it's various age groups, ethnicities, this sort of thing. I'm trying to get another deck of cards out here to use. And I think I wanted to be a little bit different because I don't think anybody else has delved into that topic. I know everybody's been nervous. I have been too, but for some reason I kind of calmed down yesterday, and it did help to have some readings to take my mind off of all of this. And what I have done is what I advise people to do. I know that right now we have to watch the news. I don't think you'd be human if you weren't curious about it, but at some point, you just turn it off when they talk about trends and polls and this and that and who's set to win and all of that sort of thing. I have a tendency to just turn it off. Although I did see something very interesting. I think it was yesterday on one of those Sunday morning things on MSNBC where they showed one of the polls that had said that that democracy was had kind of, the preservation of democracy had kind of crept up to the top of people's concerns, not by a whole lot, but I was thinking, wow, where have they been since February and March, when my colleagues and I were pretty much saying that is that's where we were at months and months ago. It's our democracy. So the inflation is still, it's still important, but that is the abortion issue is still running pretty high. So I'm going to say that not only have they, and that's going to be part of the reading, is that not only have they ignored certain groups, but they're also been kind of ignoring issues too. And so I want to get to the first group that I can't believe they haven't gone into this in more depth as far as these talk shows go. But not long ago, I think Marge Green and some of the others said that they were not going to fork out another dime for Ukraine and to help those people out. And I immediately thought of all of the Ukrainians I know. It's a very large population. I live in Pittsburgh, and we've got a very big population of Ukrainians. In fact, I always measure things by churches, and Pittsburgh has more Ukrainian churches than New York does. which I found a little bit surprising. But the ones that I got to know were the ones that I knew very well on 7th Street. And the older generations, kind of coming down to the boomers, pretty much were Republican because of the anti-communist thing. And in a lot of ways, that demographic from the older people could be compared to Cubans for for those obvious reasons. But I'm going to say that if that is a very tight knit community, and I know that they are all following this very, very careful, since they're at a pretty crucial point in their war. And I'm getting a feeling like even the ones that have voted Republican for a number of years are probably going to flip when they find out that they don't want the funding cut off. And I think they're going to vote very much in that interest. And they're also very resourceful people. I'm sure they're worried about inflation and all that sort of thing just as much as the next person. But the ones I knew always made do. If they needed to, they'd just go out and get another job, or so. Oh, the prices are going up, I'll get another job or do something. So at any rate, I wanted to pick 3 cards just to take a pulse and see what the tarot says about the Ukrainian Americans who are, citizens of the country now, but they got a lot of relatives over there. So I'm trying to think, to see what their energy is. So you've got the Princess of Swords in reverse, the Page of Cups upright, and the High Priestess. This is very interesting. So I'm going to bring these up before the screen. So I'm going to say that the Princess of Cups tells me it's a young energy, and swords are about communication and ideas. So I'm seeing them kind of flipping their views and maybe going. And also this tells me that the Ukrainians that have been here, well, the ones that came after World War II, who were older than baby boomers, and the baby boomers that are kids, they all have, grandchildren who have grown up here. So I'm going to say that the younger generation, I'm feeling, could very well have broken away from that knee-jerk reaction, which is understandable. But I'm also going to say that this is kind of a renewed thing and having other ideas. So in this case, I will say that this reverse card is saying that there's going to be some flipping. There's definitely going to be flipping. So we have the Page of Cups, which is the pages are messengers, and the cups represent our feelings, our emotions, that sort of thing. So I'm going to say that they will be guided by emotions and say, no, we've got to keep the Democrats there, even though some Republicans have been walking that back. But I do believe that they're going to sort of like a very emotional stage and say, we cannot be leaving these people in the lurch. Then we have the High Priestess. So this is, I think that a lot of them that have been Republicans are probably going to be doing a lot of soul searching. But I think it's also going to be the discovery of the dark side of Russia trying to run them, and a lot of the secrets and the toxic stuff that comes out about that. So these cards are saying, yes, that there will be a lot of people, a lot of the Ukrainians voting Democratic, especially in congressional races. And they also know a lot of the ones as I say, the ones that are old enough to remember the World War II and all that sort of thing, are knowing how important democracy is. So the one thing that I always was amazed at or found very common in that community is their very love for democracy and the system of voting and that sort of thing. So I'm definitely seeing that being an issue above the economy and that sort of thing. So that kind of leads me into the next category, which is Republicans themselves. I think that it's funny because, I look at MSNBC and I see Michael Steele, I see a couple of lawyers that are, that used to be the pundits of conservatism, and they still are very prominent conservative attorneys who are, they're commentators on MSNBC, but at the same time, I feel as though they're being ignored as a big block of people that may be flipping their votes. So when people talk about, oh, well, there are more than usual, if you can believe them, maybe more than usual Republicans coming out to vote early, it could be a lot of them that are just flipping. And it's kind of and I'll get into that with the women too. They may not want to be too vocal about that around their friends and maybe kind of keeping quiet about it. But you know what damn well that when they get into that voting booth, they're probably going to flip the thing and go straight Democratic, or they've already, because who knows how anybody votes. So I think they've been ignored. I'm going to say the Lincoln Project has a lot, and the Lincoln Project is pretty much the disenfranchised Republicans who feel as though that this MAGA conspiracy theory thing is really getting away from what Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt had in mind. So they may not be too vocal about it, but I do feel as though there may be more of them leaving the fold than usual. So I'm going to give these a shuffle. So I really want to see what's going on with that. So we have for the Republicans, King of Cups. Interesting. This is telling me quite a bit right here. The King of Cups. I have most of my colleagues and I have been seeing Biden as the King of Cups, the kindly, wise, compassionate king here. That's telling me that a lot more of them, who probably will maybe going to their graves with this secret is to not cause problems in the family, voted for Biden. I mean, there's some, how do we know? I mean, the popular vote is that he really trounced Trump by so many votes, and I really this is telling me that there is a large amount of Republican votes. So carrying the burden. Okay, the 10 of Wands is telling me that these Republicans that are in the mindset of the Michael Steeles and all of that have been really carrying a very heavy burden. It's because of the split in the party. Then we have that followed up by the Page of Swords. Upright. It's interesting because all of these cards are upright. Okay, so we have the King of Cups, which is telling me that the ones that have, I want to say maybe secretly or very low key voted for Biden are probably more than ever going to be voting Democratic, or if they haven't already. Then we have the 10 of Wands. And so they've been really carrying a heavy burden as far as trying to maintain their conservative values. But I'm going to say that a good number of them might be patriotic and say, well, maybe my laissez-faire, whatever economic thing will have to be put on hold until until we can straighten this party out. So I'm going to say this hasn't been an easy thing for them to do. That's what the cards are telling me. But maybe since January 6th, it's getting a little bit easier. So I do like this Page of Swords in this deck because usually he's kind of a more thoughtful young person. So what I'm going to say, and this is maybe part of the younger person thing, is that the young people that may be members of the Young Republican Club in college are giving this a lot of thought, and the sword isn't wielded, and probably not talking too much about how they're going to go. So I think this is very interesting. So you have the people, they may have even held their nose when they voted for Biden. And perhaps not by talking about it. A lot of them have carried a lot of heavy burdens over this, but they're just thinking that maybe we need to have a renewed democracy before we worry about all of those things. So I will say that that's an important factor that because I guess when you have polls, you really can't dig deep enough into knowing that, like, these psychological things of why people are doing what they are doing. So the Republicans, and it's kind of one of those things, like, they may tell the pollsters one thing because the hubby or the wife or whatever is, sitting within earshot. I go, yeah. I'm voting the Trump candidates and all that sort of thing. So we don't know how many of those have turned. And I like to think I have enough faith in my country, and I do believe in a two-party or maybe more party system that, when you get right down to it, that maybe just because I disagree with people on a lot of policies doesn't mean that they don't have integrity. So I'm going to say that maybe people have been selling these silent Republicans a little bit short. And I will tell you this, I really would not want to be in their shoes right now. So let's see. So women, and this is getting to women and the issues. And I did see Michael Moore discussing this not long ago, and he made a very good point when he said, when the pundits have said, oh, well, the women were fired up about the abortion issue in the summer, but now their attention span has gone to the gas pump and what a can of Campbell's soup costs. And that's really selling women short and kind of infantilizing us and telling us that what is important to us. So I don't know where they get these polls and this sort of thing, but I think that the abortion thing is more up front, and people are thinking about that more than they give credit to, and I will address that when I get to the Gen Z part of that, because a lot of them are voting, and if you think they're not thinking about that, then you're crazy. So so I'm going to do a quick read on, I got another deck here. I'm going to do a very quick read on women and the and what issues are important to them. And I want to say I'm feeling as though the suburban, I want to say suburban swing voters, because they were the ones, they and the black women. Oh, okay. Oh, Susan is saying she pulled 3 cards about tomorrow's election. The first card will represent the Democratic turnout. This is the High Priestess. This is the Democratic base doing a great deal of early and mail-in. And the second card is the King of Pentacles reverse. I see a whole lot of mega support turning out tomorrow on the, I think they will be. I agree with you. I do think that they will be out there. So the King of Pentacles in reverse, a lot of us have been saying that is Trump and his corrupted money. He's not so much the King of Pentacles upright, but he is the corrupt king with dirty finances. And so you saw that the first card was the High Priestess. So what this is saying is that there will be some kind of ugly, dark things going on. And I've been thinking about that. That kind of depends on where the polls are. Where I am, where they would, where I vote, where they, I mean, trying to intimidate people into voting, for the Republicans that would be a big waste of their time. But I am seeing them going into maybe the larger places like the Black neighborhoods in Homewood, or some of those other places that are a little bit on the depressed side, but that's just how I feel. It's hard to say what those crazies will do. So but that's very good. So let's see. Okay, so the women's concern. Okay, so I'm going to use another deck, and I'll use just the one deck. So we've got Six of Pentacles, which is all about the giving and the compassion, which has been telling me that since the Dobbs decision, that women have been getting out, volunteering, giving their time. So I would say that this has not been forgotten. Plus, the scales of justice, like this is not just, especially a lot of these women that have girls in high school, that sort of thing. So we have the 10 of Wands upright, and then we have the Lovers in reverse. So this is very interesting because once again, they're considering the burdens they have of, the economic stuff, and the inflation is important. It is important. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yes, that the page of let's see, Page of Swords reversed. Yeah, that is like people kicking up a fuss afterwards. So okay, so I would say that the the 10 of Swords, the 10 of Rods here represents the fact that although women are concerned about the economy, they also take into consideration, do they need another mouth to feed? Because most women that get abortions are married women that have had enough children already. And so that plays into that economic factor. Then we have the Lovers in reverse. That's telling me that a lot of these women are going to be going against what their husbands believe, which is very interesting. I think they're going to be pretty sneaky about it for survival purposes, but I'm saying there's a lot going on underneath there. It might be like, why aren't you wearing the red hat anymore? Oh, well, it clashes with my new dye job or whatever. But so that's interesting. So Page of Swords, actually, and when I look at the other people on YouTube, that has been really coming up a lot. And the basic interpretation of that is it's like a very childish tantrum about we didn't win. I'm going to say that I'm feeling as though, since it is a sword, it's probably going to be a lot of hot air if the powers that be are prepared for that. And I can't see them not being prepared for that, having National Guard and whatever on cue, that sort of thing. So I'm definitely seeing that you're right, that definitely could be protests. I kind of feel as though they're not going to go anywhere. So I feel I want to do a three cards on that because that's a very so afterwards, and we don't know how it's going to turn out, but afterwards, when some of them don't get their way, what will be happening with these little hissy fits that or these or maybe big hissy fits people are going to throw. Okay. So we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. That's telling me, and see here again, we've got another page, immature card in reverse with people being stupid and throwing money around for lawyers that are going to lose anyway. So Pentacles in reverse is saying really stupid spending of money that is not going to go anywhere. Then we have another High Priestess, which along with these, just like the January 6th thing has happened, that with along with some of these, and we're hoping it's not going to get ugly like January 6th, like a lot of dark secrets are going to come out, like we heard at the hearing. So they're really just harming themselves basically by kicking up a big fuss. I'm also going to say, I don't think anybody wants to. Okay. So what I'm seeing with the Four of Swords in reverse is that it's just going nowhere. Whatever they do is going to go nowhere. And all they're really going to do is wear themselves out and also put themselves in a position to be prosecuted. I just got this flash seeing the Four of Swords in reverses. I'm going to say some of the people that have missed the dragnet of the FBI as far as taking part in that will probably be stupid. You know, they've been itching to get out, so they will be stupid enough to get out of their parents' basement or whatever, go to what these big hissy fit festivals and end up being arrested when they've just managed to elude the authorities. So that's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of that happening. So I do want to get to the Gen Z, and that's a very interesting group because you can't put them in a geographic location because so many of them are away at school now and they're voting here. I know the University of Pittsburgh has been putting on Facebook about they're really I'm telling you, they're mobilizing. They are getting the young vote out. And one of the cute ones I saw today was storm the dorms, and they are going to get groups of people and they're going to go through and they have a lot of dorms at Pitt. They're going to go to the dorms and probably literally drag people out to vote. And I'm thinking they're hit. So this is a very important, this vote is very important. And I think it's another one that they have kind of like I think they've even ignored it because I've been hearing that, oh, well, they haven't really been coming out, but yet I'm hearing other anecdotal information that yes, they have been coming out, and in Georgia too. I mean, a crucial state like Georgia. So I know I've worked since 2006. I have worked with some of these younger people, and that they really know how to find who to focus on, you know, because they're good with technology and that sort of thing. So people underestimate the power of young people. Now, they haven't gotten a whole lot of their own out in the past, but I really I'm feeling that it's different, and we just haven't gotten the truth about that. So I'm going to look, and we've had it like between Susan and me, we've had a lot of pages, a lot coming up, a lot of young people, but a lot of times that can be immaturity. So I'm going to see what is the deal with the younger vote. The Page of Pentacles, which is this. I love him in this deck because he's a very, very thoughtful person. I'm also going to say that they're probably a lot like me, and that, you know, instead of giving maybe $100 to one candidate. They'll spread it out. Like I did this weekend, you know, $10 to O'Rourke and $10 to Fetterman and $10 to Florida. I mean, I think that that's what this card is telling me, that, oh, I didn't know I was so young at heart. But at any rate, this is what the young people have been doing. And this has been really, I hadn't even occurred to me, because I'm doing the same thing, is funny, but that the young people have been really the grassroots, the grassroots, because they can point and click all day. They get a few dollars. But that's how they've been. It's like Obama in 2008 got so many, such a big amount of money from the grassroots. So really interesting. You cannot make this stuff up. So we've got the Princess of Wands here, which is telling me the Gen Z women are fired up and ready to go. I think a lot more of them have been coming out, and I can't imagine too many of them not being concerned about their reproductive rights. I will have to say, this has been a highly undercounted group. So we've got the Princess of Wands. She's fired up. She's organizing. She is getting out there, and with this page and taking her boyfriend along, because these guys, they don't want to have to, they're getting their degrees. They don't want to have to go through a shotgun wedding or whatever, or feel like they have to marry someone. And okay, so we've got the Six of Swords in reverse, and this is a third card. This is telling me about the possibility of their future. I'm really feeling as though with these people that they will not be going out of the rough waters into the smooth waters if the Republicans win. And I'm going to say that this is also seeing the kind of like the indentured servitude of student debt, that if they can't, I mean, these people have been totally exploited. When I was in college, a lot of friends of mine were paying $15 a month for their student loan, and they got it paid off in 5 years. I mean, so these people have been terribly exploited. They see no way out of this until they're like, 70 years old, if they're lucky, paying off all the interest and everything. So this is a big motivating factor to get them out. I would also say that they're also looking to the future of, like, they have a lot longer to live than we do in, fascist America. So I would say that I really, really feel on a very big psychic level that these factors are going to really, they have got a long life ahead of them. And I really feel as though this is different from other midterms. They are really getting out and voting. I think a lot of them have voted already. But when they drop those things in the, who knows? That sort of thing, it's impossible to count. These are people that are not getting polled, and even the pundits on TV are saying they're not getting polled. So to sort of justify their moronicy, they'll just say, oh, well, they're just not coming out, which I think is very, very untrue. So let's see. We've got Gen Z, covered the Ukrainian. So I think that in wrapping this up, that everybody said it. It's really important to not only get out and vote, but I would also say it's really important about who you listen to. Listen to Michael Moore. If I will watch Rachel tonight. She kind of goes a little bit different directions. I will watch her just to, so she's been a little bit more hopeful lately. So I'll be watching Rachel Maddow. But as soon as all that negativity gone, boom, I just switched to another station. I would say listen to him, Mandy Patinkin, Broadway singer extraordinaire. He was TV people. He was on Chicago Hope, if you remember that, and his wife, who's also an actress. They really gave a wonderful, impassioned speech about don't pay attention to these polls and these talking heads. And I also have to say is that there are a lot of us on YouTube, and I would say that even the ones I like, I'm taking them with it because I'm superstitious. I'm taking some of them with a little grain of salt, and the ones that are really good are saying, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it, because the ones that are really doing the hard predictions. But I would say even more that really be careful of the conspiracy psychics. There are a number of them. I think they're all wrapped up with QAnon and all that kind of stuff. Soon as they start talking about deep state and Wrench and Soros and Bill Gates and all this stuff, that's when you really need to click that. You really need to click that off. I don't know if they did too much acid back in the day or whatever, but you know, you have to be careful of that negativity too. So, I will be going out and voting tomorrow. I did double check to make sure they hadn't moved the polls on me. So I would say that would be a little project if you haven't done it. And I do like to go to the polls because I like that whole thing of doing that. But I would also say if you sense any trouble, another thing that you need to do, which I did from the last time, which I discovered, is Google the FBI and program their number in your phone. Make sure your phone is charged, because if there's a long queue of people waiting to vote and people making trouble, take their pictures and call the FBI. Then I think that if you do that and and be safe and protect yourself, that just remember Michael Moore and a lot of us, a lot of us have been saying there's more of us than there are of them. So if we all go out and vote, we really could just sweep the red hats into the garbage where they belong. So everybody, just stay calm, go and vote. I'll see you in the funny papers, and I'm going to be announcing a Facebook Live where I'm probably right after the election. I'm going to be answering your psychic questions with the tarot. So relax tonight, be calm, and I'll see you in the funny papers. So thanks for tuning in. Bye.